What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel and you're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC here. Today we're going to be talking about this beast of a knife right here, the Microtech Stitch. This thing is a savage. It is a ridiculous yet sexy, attractive, very functional looking knife right here, if I don't say so myself. We're obviously going to get into all of it here in this video. This knife is just amazing. I'm going to tell you all the different ways why it is such a solid workhorse and savage knife. I actually picked up this knife myself. I bought it for myself with my own money. I did an unboxing on this knife here not that long ago, along with the MSI, which is another knife that I'm going to be referring to here in this video, both from Microtech, both with the Ram-Lok, which is Microtech's version of the crossbar lock. So yeah, this is my second Microtech knife that I bought for myself. I've been very impressed with the knife this entire time, and so we're gonna get into the video and I'm gonna tell you everything that you need to know about this knife before you make your purchase. My goal is to give you enough information where you have enough data to make an educated decision. That being said, guys, I'm gonna put some affiliate links down below for this knife and any other knife that you see in this video. It does help out the channel when you use those links, but that is entirely up to you. Let's start things off here with a quick size measurement, because that's how we rock and roll here. Let's see, overall length on this behemoth of a knife, it's gonna be exactly 8.5 inches, which makes it a little bit shorter than the MSI. You'll see in a second. I'll do another quick comparison. Blade length is going to be around 3 3/4, and the actual cutting edge is going to be around 3 1/4 for the cutting edge. Handle, of course, can't forget about that. Handle is going to be around 5 inches on the handle length right there. Clearly we are dealing with a significant, definitely a large size knife. So let's do some quick comparisons here. Here's the brother, the MSI. Just did the review on this bad boy. So if you haven't checked out the review on the MSI, you can check out that review next after you're done watching this one, of course. So yeah, on the large category of knives, we have also the Bohler RS Chaos, another knife that I picked up recently as a birthday gift to myself. You'll see the unboxing and review for this knife here coming very soon with a savage Wharncliffe blade right there. But yeah, the stitch is going to be very comparable to the RS Chaos, and it's actually going to be a little shorter than the MSI. All right, there they are side by side. I'm going to give you or show you the usual guys here on the channel that we do size comparison with. The PM2 right there, definitely bigger than the PM2, and of course it will be bigger than the Para 3. All right, so a little side by side there so you guys can take a look. It will definitely be bigger than the Shark Foot 80-20.5, no doubt about that. I'm just kind of showing you some knives that you probably own yourself. Here's the new Slicer Shark Cub, also from Demco, so it's going to be larger than that too. All right, no surprises there. And let's do the Rat Model 1, close things off of course with the classic Rat Model 1. And yeah, it is larger than the Rat Model 1, and that's a lot to say, because for a long time the Rat Model 1 was the largest knife in the channel, and here's the Rat Model 2. Yeah, obviously it's going to be a lot shorter. So what do we have going on here as far as materials? Well, we are working with a very nicely done G10, fluted G10 going on here for the handles. This is high quality stuff, you guys. As far as G10 goes, I haven't experienced a G10 so far with all the other knives that I have worked with that is as high quality, very well done and executed as this G10 right here. It is fluted, so there's, you know, that line pattern that you see right there feels really good. There is some titanium going on, so we have stainless steel hardware. We'll be doing a hardware check in a moment. The Ram-Lok itself is stainless steel, you know, all the hardware here, but this back spacer right here in the back, this is going to be titanium. So very nice titanium back spacer right there with the crown jimping. Ooh, that thing is sexy. We're going to talk more about that later. Also, steel wise, first of all, this is just one heck of a savage blade. I believe this one will come in as a Wharncliffe, right? And if you know anything about me, you know I am a sucker for Wharncliffe blades. And the second I saw this knife, I was immediately in love with it. And yeah, that has carried on up until this point. I love love the shape of this blade. It is a Bohler Blades collaboration. Now, the Bohler Blades, their knives are very expensive. And if you know anything about his custom knives, you know they go for quite a pretty penny. So what happened here is the Microtech brand worked specifically and directly with Bohler Blades to create an exclusive to Microtech, which is this one here, the Microtech Stitch, okay? And originally it actually came in, you may or may not know this, but originally it came in as an automatic knife. So picture, instead of the Ram-Lok, which of course we know now is a manual opening, picture to this here just being a button that you can press and it'd be a side opening automatic, right? You're pretty used to that. For demo purposes, here's a side automatic. You push a button, boom, the blade fires, right? That's the Bohler Kalashnikov. So yeah, there's an automatic version of this knife which came out first, and people loved that knife, but it had the same blade opening or hole going on here, and people were frustrated because they wouldn't be able to deploy the knife. The only way to deploy the knife was with the actual button. So of course, what that meant is, hey, we need a manual version of the Stitch, and here it is in its full form. It is the same Stitch that you know and love, but in a manual crossbar locking mechanism, which they call the Ram-Lok. We're going to talk more about that later. And this thing is just an awesome knife to EDC and carry, very functional, very reliable. Steel wise, we have the M390MK steel. And in case you don't know, it is very similar to regular M390, except Microtech worked very closely with Bohler, so they could, I believe, tweak a little bit of the carbon content on the steel composition to emphasize or prioritize edge retention, right? That is, as far as I'm concerned, based on the research that I did, what the M390MK is. So it is exclusive to Microtech. They're the only ones that have the M390MK. Of course, other companies have, you know, M390, but only Microtech has the MK, right? With that little tweak too, right? It's not like strikingly different than regular M390. It just prioritizes a little bit more edge retention with that carbon composition tweak. So that being said, we have a flat grind going on here, right? Me personally would have also loved to see a hollow grind. Do believe they make a hollow grind version too, but that's on the custom knives. So this section here is flat. Nice switch going on here, which is also flat going on there. And this thing is just a very ergonomically friendly knife overall, right? You're probably thinking like, why does it look so weird, right? So with with the regular grip, right, the regular just hanging and grabbing the handle like this, you'll notice that, you know, there's a lot you can do. You're also very far away from the beginning of the edge there. So this is more so meant for you to, you know, use this finger choil, which by the way has got to be the biggest finger choil I have seen in the knife industry up until this point. So you're meant to really bear down with the forward choke position and get this. You see my thumb, you see the shape of my thumb here, right? Notice how it rests perfectly right here on the blade, and bam, this is where you go to work, right? So you can get your cuts right here, slicing and dicing, get all that done, right? Cut like this. Also, this is going to be a very pokey tip, right? Like Nick Chavas will say. So you can do some thrusting if needed, some penetration if needed, depending on what it is that you're cutting. You can also, because it is a Warncliffe style, sheep's foot style blade, you could get up here, do a little pinch grip right here, and get very precise with the cuts that you want to do. That is something that is absolutely possible as well. And overall, I mean, it's just a very functional knife. Ergonomically speaking, my favorite way to hold on to the knife here, bear down on it, is with that forward choking option right there. That I like the fact that the finger choil is nice and big. It's very jimped all throughout. It gives you additional grip right here. You have additional grip with the jimping going on there on the back of the blade. And look at all this jimping going on here with the crown backspacer. That's a plethora of jimping. You got jimping for days. So if you walk into the Vaseline factory, like Nick Chavas will say, I don't know. I don't think that this knife, you definitely would have to purposely let it go, because you definitely have a lot of grip, you know, a lot of jimping going on throughout. It definitely helps. The ergonomics are really good. I do feel the pocket clip poking up a little bit. It is the same style pocket clip as on the MSI, so it's like standard pocket clip situation going on there. I mean, other than that, I do feel it a bit. It's this duck bill that just kind of pokes up a bit. So in this grip, I feel it a tiny bit. on the forward choke. I feel it a little less. It's not like, you know, it's not really like poking, but I know that it is present. I know that it's there. And so, yeah, before I get carried away, let's do let's do a quick carry profile on this bad boy here next to the Para 3. And therefore the PM2 is going to be thicker than that. It's going to be thicker than the Demco 8020.5 for sure. What about the Rap Model 1? Definitely a little bit thicker than the Rap Model 1. And what about next to the sibling here, the MSI? So just a hair thicker than the MSI. So length and height in the pocket. Let's do, which angle is better? This angle? What about like this? So the pocket clip doesn't get in the way. We'll do it like that. So it is going to take up a lot more room in the pocket. As far as compared to the MSI, the blade does stick out substantially a little bit more. Here it is next to the RS Chaos 2, which all of these have a substantial portion of the blade sticking out. We're not hiding that, but you know, some of them are going to be a little bit taller, right? Length and height a little bit taller than others. So there's a stitch right there for comparison. We'll do the typical ones, the PM2. Para 3. So yeah, it actually will take up more room than your PM2 and Para 3, right? Who would have thought the day would come that these Spidey hole knives would actually take less room than something as crazy and savage like the Stitch, but here it is, right? And yeah, let's just do the Rap Model 1 and 2. I think you guys get the idea there. Yeah, definitely going to be a good length knife, and definitely the height right there is going to be quite substantial, right? Is there any milling going on here, guys? So this is what's interesting about this knife. So the majority of the knife itself, the construction, is actually made from these very, very thick G10 scales. I'm noticing some steel liners inside, but they are only towards the front portion of the knife, not so much in the back. Now this back spacer provides a lot of rigidity and a lot of, you know, just kind of sandwiching, gluing everything together with these two heavy duty body screws. So you got that going there. But yeah, I was surprised that, you know, the inside liners don't really go all the way through. It's only just in the front portion. If anything, you can see some of it right here, right? Which would be this little bar or section right there. Those are your steel liners, but again, they're only about this much. The rest of the knife is all just the G10 scales being so thick and robust, along with that super hardcore titanium backspacer. So that's interesting. It still comes in at a good weight though. It is not a featherweight by any means or stretch of the imagination. For reference, your MSI was 4.8 ounces. The RS Chaos was 5.5, right? This scale likes to embarrass me, so I always have to wait till last second before it decides to give me that final number. So 5.5 ounces on the RS Chaos, and last but not least, the Stitch. Boom, 6 ounces on the dot, right? Yeah, you're gonna have a chunk of knife in your pocket for sure. Me personally, that's not an issue whatsoever. I like carrying knives, whether they're light or heavy, regardless, it doesn't make a difference for me. But if you are, you know, like a lightweight freak or what have you, just be mindful, right? It is a large knife, and then you have a substantial amount of blade there. They really tried to do as much weight saving as they could, right? You saw those G10 solid scales, and there's even a version of this knife that comes in aluminum, so that's pretty interesting too. So I'm sure that one might weigh just a tad bit more than this one, even though aluminum is pretty light compared to something like stainless steel or titanium itself. So let's also do a quick blade stock thickness here. Now it is going to be a little bit of a thicker blade. It comes in at 0.16, and the thickest portion of the handle, if you count it right here at the Ram-Lok, is 0.61. If you count it here on the G10 portion, it's 0.60. So yeah, some quick measurements there for you to keep in mind. Now here's my favorite part, because they knocked this out of the park. Let's do a quick hardware check on this bad boy. And I'll tell you right now, just because I already know, I did it on the MSI review. And yeah, we're dealing with big hardware here. As always, guys, my tools are highly recommendable. You can find them in the description below. Anytime you use those links, it does help out the channel at no extra cost to you. The T8 bit right here, yeah, so you got T8, right, big hardware going on for the body screws, including the pocket clip. Bam, bam, right there, pocket clip going on, boom. Yeah, so T8 everywhere. Now get this, you guys are ready for the kicker, right? The kicker is T20 for the pivot. How about that? Microtech is not messing around with tiny hardware, I'll tell you that. Now, of course, this is a, you know, premium knife. We're gonna talk about price and stuff like that in a second, but yeah, T20 in the pivot and T10 everywhere else. So yeah, big hardware, just how we like it. No, you know, less possibilities of stripping screws here and there and things like that, which is a good thing. And every single EDC knife enthusiast out there is rejoicing with happiness because of that. All right, so meat and potatoes times. Meats and potatoes time. So let's get into it. What has the carry experience been like with this guy? So I'll start with saying this, right? And I said this during the MSI review as well. I want to say the Ram-Lok from Microtech is on a whole different level. I love my crossbar locks a lot, but I feel like the Ram-Lok just brings something unique and different to the table. The biggest argument with people towards crossbar locks are Omega springs. Companies these days, you know, like the Vosteed with the Raccoon, they're shipping additional Omega springs in the box. It doesn't mean that Omega springs are bad, but they could fail more than likely at any point, you know, later on in the knife life, if you will. So they ship some extra Omega springs. And yeah, nothing against Omega springs, but what's more reliable than Omega springs? Something like the Ram-Lok. You have a coil spring going on here, and the overall construction is just more robust, more sturdy, and it's just basically you're basically wedging a piece of metal right there to hold the blade open. By the way, very solid, rock solid there, no up and down play, no side to side as expected. And then that same wedge or piece of stainless steel, you can pull that back and you release the blade at the same time. So it's not only a very strong locking mechanism, but also a very robust and easy to manipulate, right? So that's what crossbar locks have going for them for the most part, very easy to manipulate. I also love the ball bearing lock with spider codes like on the Manix here. That is something else that I love about the Manix. Very similar. In this case, you're wedging basically a ball into the blade tang here, right, to hold it in place. Also very nice and robust. And same deal here with a coil spring going on there too. What I love about the Stitch, right, or the Ram-Lok itself is that the fact that it is stainless steel instead of plastic, right? So yeah, another thing to keep in mind is that it is very ambidextrous friendly. Now, I'm not very left-handed trained, to say the least, but if you are lefty, right, you will be able to work with this knife without any issues. Right, notice that. There's my not trained whatsoever left hand. It works really good with lefties and righties alike. Very ambidextrous friendly. And so is the pocket clip. So the pocket clip is not the most deep carry pocket clip out there, but you have about that much sticking out of the pocket, which is pretty decent. It is reversible, so if you want to mount it on the other side, you are good to go right there. It is tip up carry only on this bad boy, no tip down carry. If you're still doing that these days, this won't be the knife for you. So tip up carry only going on here. The actual Ram-Lok also works as the detent, right? So there comes a point where, you know, the Ram-Lok overcomes the shape right here, the cutout in the back of the blade, and then guillotines the blade close pretty much. So yeah, you have a lot going for it right there as far as that goes. I want to say my probably only gripe with the knife, if anything, if I really had to nitpick, this is nitpicking to 1,000, but me personally, maybe it's because my hand size, I don't have big hands, I don't have small hands, medium hands. So one thing that I would have preferred is, you know, the G10 scales here, maybe they could have been rounded a little bit more, but that would have also made this portion here a little bit pokier. I'm not sure, but what I will tell you is that when I have carried this knife a ton back to back, and you know, this deployment option, like this little corner right here would tend to kind of stab your palm, I would end up with a red, you know, like sore red area here after a while. And that was just an observation. It will kind of hurt a little bit, you know, not to whine or anything, you know, or anything like that. It just, after opening and closing the knife over and over again, like this corner might stab you there a little bit. It's nothing serious, because on a day-to-day basis, you won't be sitting there opening and closing the knife unless you're a fidget weirdo like me and you like to fidget a ton with your knives, and that might be something. But for day-to-day use, you know, it's in your pocket, you take it out, you do your quick cut, and then you put it back in the pocket, you're good to go. You might not notice that as much, but I did notice that. So maybe just rounding the edges right here ever so slightly so they're not as pokey will be something to look into. But honestly, other than that, this has been a true workhorse of a knife. Very functional, easy to operate, open, close, get it to work, get it to do what it needs to do. It did all of that without any issues whatsoever, and it did really good. It did great. You could do the slow thumb roll on this bad boy. You could do the Spidey drop as well if you wanted to. So you got some additional deployment options there if you wanted. So a quick paper cutting test on the stitch. Of course, we know it's going to cut. This is not really going to prove much, but just for the sake of science, man, this thing is going to be very, very sharp, of course. Whoa, yeah, you can tell by the sound of the paper, right? I'm trying to avoid not catching at a weird angle. So check it out like that. Boom, bam. Do a couple more. You guys rate it in the comments. How sharp is this guy on a scale from 1 through 10? Let me know down there. So we know it can do paper. What about some cardboard? You got the Lion King flavor of the week here, Huggies cardboard. I promise you I go through these like crazy. Not only in the videos, but like literally just trying to get them over to the trash cans. So yeah, when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular like this. Do it more at an angle like that. And it should look something like this. Wow, that felt really, really good. If I had to tell you, I mean, you're probably wondering which one feels better or cuts better, the MSI or the Stitch. I just did them back to back. The MSI has a little bit more of a thicker blade, so it slices, but this one is the better slicer, I'll tell you that. The Stitch is definitely the better slicer for sure. Now you do have a smaller blade length, so I'm trying to make sure I don't sink this corner right there. All right, check that out. Bam. So yes, one last one. Yeah, we know it will cut, we know it will do the business, and it certainly gets some work done. That's demonstrated, but you guys let me know, right? Very nice in the line, if I haven't already said that, right? Check that out, right on point. Yeah, in case I haven't said this already, but it should be pretty obvious, the QC with Microtech is 100% spot on, very similar to the QC quality control with Spyderco knives. I mean, we're talking about like top-notch quality control. You know, I've only done the 2 knives, right? Same principle applies to the MSI, but so far I haven't seen anything out of place. Everything lines up really good. Everything is cut out perfectly. It matches. It's very symmetrical. Everything that is on one side, it's on the other side. Very well done. The fluted G10 right here feels really, really good, and you know, nothing out of place. Just high quality, very, very well done too. So let's talk price. So this one comes in at, I believe, MSRP about $300 or so before tax and shipping and things like that. Most places ship free because of already the expensive price or higher price of the knife. So it's not a budget knife by any stretch of the imagination. It is a premium knife with premium materials, steel, and so on. So the thing to keep in mind here is that, again, this is a collaboration with Borka blades. So if you've looked at Borka customs, you'll notice that if you were to get the Stitch directly from Borka, those custom knives, they're going to be very, very pricey. We're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Whereas Microtech was actually able to collaborate with Borka, bring you the same Stitch design and make it more and more affordable, way more affordable than those custom knives. And then you end up with a $300 Stitch, which can be bought with the M390MK, either G10, fluted G10, which again feels really, really good. As I mentioned at the beginning, very elegant, but also very grippy and functional. Or you could get the same fluted design in aluminum, right? You could get it in aluminum as well. And I'm sure, again, just like I said with the MSI, these are going to be such popular knives. If they aren't already, they're only going to get more and more popular from here on forward. Tons of companies are going to want to make aftermarket scales for these. So I see titanium scales coming here at some point here very soon, and that's happening. I might consider doing that. I'm just a sucker for, you know, titanium on knives lately. I'm on a monochrome crusade for some reason. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the Stitch with some aftermarket scales too. But these are rock solid where you get out of the box. Am I going to sit here and tell you that the G10 and the FRN or polymer feel the same? Not really, right? obviously the G10 costs a little bit more, but also feels a little bit better, or much better in my opinion. But you know, it really depends. If you're planning on sticking with G10 for the longest, then that's fine. If you want to save a couple of bucks, get the most affordable version, you can. I don't believe they sell the Stitch in polymer, but I do know the MSI you can get in polymer. But yeah, either way, I mean, these are rock solid knives. I highly recommend them. They are American made knives. So you are paying a little bit more of a premium price, but you're also getting a premium knife with, you know, good construction, very reliable action. And these are going to be very solid for a long time to come. So I've been very impressed. Hopefully I can check out the other Ram-Lok offering from Microtech, which is the Amphibian, at some point in the future. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see. Hopefully we can do that. But yeah, other than that, I'm super impressed with the knife. It always puts a smile on my face, because it is the good kind of ridiculous, right? If you're looking for a ridiculous knife that you know you are going to love, and it's always going to put a smile in the face, but at the same time it's going to be very functional and you could use it for everything you need on a daily basis. Bam, this is a good premium knife to consider indeed. So highly recommend it, as well as the MSI. There you have it, guys. That is my comprehensive review. Hopefully I touch on everything that you wanted to hear about the knife. If there's anything that I missed about the knife, because you know, sometimes I think about stuff after the fact as I'm editing the video. I'm like, oh, you know, I forgot to mention this thing or that thing. But right now I'm in the moment. You know, I don't want to make this video extra long, so let's hang out in the comments down there. Let me know what questions you have. What do you want to know about the Microtech Stitch? Again, I love it. I'm so happy that I picked one up. These go in and out of stock all the time, so if at the time you're watching this video it's not in stock, you can register for your favorite dealer's mailing list, and as soon as it becomes available, you'll be able to pick one up. With the demand that there is right now, these go out of stock within a couple hours, sometimes, you know, half a day or something. So often dealers are posting on Instagram. You might want to follow them there, and then, you know, you'll be able to hop on right away as soon as they launch, so you can pick yourself one up as well. The date on this one is October 23. Kind of wanted them to match, but I ended up picking this one up a month later. But yeah, these are awesome knives, came out this year, premium knives overall, super impressed. So there you have it, guys. If you haven't already given this video a thumbs up, what are you waiting for? It helps out the video, helps out the channel grow and reach a larger audience. If you're on your way out and you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. I make all kinds of knife video and knife content like this on a ongoing daily basis, so please consider subscribing. If you want to support the channel a step further, check out the Patreon link down there, where you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. If you made it to the end, you guys are the real MVPs. Chances are the review for the Civivi Sentinel Strike is going to be ready to go. This very fidgety knife right here, button lock from Civivi. I've been having a blast with this knife. It's also very light with aluminum handles, so check this one out. Next, I'll put a card right here for you guys to check out. Thank you all for hanging out with me until the very end. I love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.